Oh, yeah. And we are live.
Ooh, big live.
Welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host, Rob, aka B Ball Archives. And once again, I got the bum AJ up in the casa coming at you live mid NBA draft. We are live, and the 11th pick is on the clock. We've seen pretty much a fastball right down the pipe so far. Not
Yep.
a lot of interesting picks, not a crazy amount of unexpected
Yeah.
activity, so to speak. But overall, a lot of interesting things so far. But where do you want to start, my dude? What's been the most shining, bright talking point for you?
Well, I mean, the number one pick was interesting, right? I was sitting here thinking that the Wizards were going to screw it up, and turns out they actually got it right. So I'm happy that I was wrong. But at the it's going to be interesting uh, how the Utah Jazz get themselves in such a weird dilemma because this is the second year that they haven't really met or interviewed their draft pick until like a couple of days before it happens. So I don't know if that's their strategy moving forward or they're just not trying to get to know them so they can trade them later. But regardless, I think it's been a pretty ho hum of draft. If you've been following the draft and you see these names, like I don't think anything's really surprising. What do you think?
Yeah, when we've seen the top of the draft right now, it doesn't really there's not a whole lot of surprising elements to me. I think AJ DeBonsa made all the sense in the world. He is that wing player that they need. Obviously, that extension that Trey Young just received leads you to believe that they are looking at him as their guard for the future. They look at him as, hey, we just shored up our guy that's going to be our main ball handling main distributor. Anthony Davis, you have Alex Sarr, you have essentially your front court locked up.
Yeah,
All you need is a really good young dynamic wing out there, and you have the
exactly.
opportunity to go get that in this draft at number 1, and so you go do that. Makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah,
And yeah,
and
and Utah Jazz has a really interesting backcourt when you look at Keontae George and
of
now
course,
Darren Peterson. This is a really dynamic backcourt for them as
yeah.
they look to
The,
rebuild quickly.
the Wizards and the Jazz got better instantly with these two picks for sure. Like they definitely got better. It's just going to be a matter of which team's going to put it together the quickest. I think the Wizards have a pretty good shot just because they have Anthony Davis and Trey Young that are veterans and can probably steer them a little bit more into a playoff direction. But the Jazz are really interesting too because they got some studs out there and they got a lot of cap space moving forward. So if you can get over the I guess the lack of alcohol and other things in that state, then you can probably get away with going to the Jazz and making yourself some good money.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's a very interesting situation. Obviously, I don't believe that they have all the pieces that they need. So I think that they're still at least one big piece away. I know that there's a lot of interesting pieces. You'll get Jaron Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Walker Kessler is going to come back healthy. Supposedly,
Hopefully he
he's
comes back
yeah.
in general.
Right, yeah, hopefully he's not completely disgruntled and, Larry Markkinen continues to be what he can
Still
be,
got
and
Ace
so
Bailey.
yeah, you still got Ace Bailey. There's a lot of interesting elements to your team, but still, I think that there's yeah, a lot of unknowns still to me in terms of what you need from your front court. So I think getting this definitely is a dynamic option for Utah, but still
As
a lot to
yeah,
be desired.
as long as Will Hardy still can kind of control that team. I know there were times last season where he had his moments where he wasn't in full control, I would say. So as long as he can continue just to kind of keep the ship on track, I think they'll be okay. But this is just a very interesting time, right? Like it's a way where you're trying to find the right guy for the right situation, and you want to bring him on your team, and everyone's really excited. But then here in the next 2 to 3 years, a lot of these guys we're just not going to hear from again.
Yeah,
It's
that
pretty
is the
crazy.
reality of the draft. A lot of
Yeah.
times that's That's certainly the reality, and it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, this is a business, and some of these young players don't adapt to the business nearly as well
Yeah.
as others. But um, that being said, on the clock right now is Oklahoma City Thunder, but the team that's on the deck is the Miami Heat. And speaking of the Miami
What did they
Heat,
do today, Rob? Anything fun?
well, last night, an absolute bombshell. They traded for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, this is the blockbuster trade that we knew was going to happen. So I think not super surprising in terms of when he was traded, but definitely the team he was traded to, a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
So I think through that lens, it looks like a good situation slightly for both teams.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's I can't say it's a good situation. I just gotta say slightly. Like
Yeah.
it's you basically you got as much as you possibly could, even though you know you should have traded him 2 years ago when you could have maximized his value.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they got
here
a
we are.
haul. They got a haul, though. I mean, they got all kinds of players, all kinds of picks, and whatnot. I just don't know what Giannis's durability is anymore. You know, like I don't know if he can sustain a 82 game season. I think he can probably play 50, but 82 is going to be a stretch. Like just he seems to be always hurt, or there's always some kind of lingering injury with something lower body, whether that's a knee or a calf or an ankle, something to that effect. And as much as I love Giannis, you know, he's also a little long in the tooth at this point too. So like he's still a great player, still fantastic, but you know what's he going to do on your team that is going to be, I guess, new and exciting and get you over the hump? I don't know if he's still that guy. I'm sure he is to an extent, but 3 years from now, he's not that guy. He's not going to be that guy. And then Bobby Portis, I kind of view him in the same capacity. Like he had a huge injury and he's been injured for the past few seasons, and he hasn't really done a whole lot since their championship run. So I think that was kind of just a toss in too. But you know, when I look at the what the Bucks received, I think the Bucks got better. I think the Bucks finally also have some kind of path to figure out what they want to do in the next 5 years. And you know, that starts with a guy like, you know, Tyler Hero and what's his name? Hawkes. So you know, but I think they can also go out and do more too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they did get a bunch of stuff. Like
Yeah, they got
I'm not
plenty.
hating on getting a bunch of stuff because when you trade an asset like Giannis, you need to get a bunch of stuff. That's
Yeah.
an absolute necessity. So I think just at face value, it was okay in that regard, but I'm a big component on what was the high end asset that you got in that trade. And if I'm not really loving those
Yeah.
first round picks that much, then I have to point to Tyler Hero as the best asset you got in a trade for Giannis. And so in that scope, when you trade away the obvious best player in the conference, it doesn't necessarily spark a lot of confidence to me in that your organization got exactly what you wanted. But I also think given where Giannis was and the fact that he wanted out and he's been kind of wanting out for the last it seems like 18 months, if not more,
Yeah.
it it really just seems like this was the best they were going to do, and they weren't going to settle for Jalen Brown and a couple of firsts that weren't going to materialize to much.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. I think if I saw correctly too, they're also looking to move Tyler Hero here pretty soon too. So the Bucks are in like full tank mode. I mean, full tank mode. So they're going to be sprinting straight down the tank tube. We know a little bit about that as well, but they are definitely heading in that direction, especially come the beginning of 2030, 2031, 32, 33. Like if you're, we just don't know what the market's going to look like then. I just, man, I don't know if any team got so much better that they're going to dethrone the Knicks or beat the Celtics in a 7 game series. Like I still don't see that happening with Giannis and Bam. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, they still were able to keep enough of the team around him when you look at Norm Powell, when you look at Andrew Wiggins, and you still have Davion Mitchell able to swarm people in their backcourt. Like it's, I think that there is some stuff to like, but yeah, the bench, where is it? Where is the bench production going to
If
come from? So I think they have a lot to answer still, but I
yeah,
I do think that is a team situation that is obviously better than his team situation in
sure.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, you're in
Right,
South Beach, right? It looks like the Scottish dudes are having a great time in Miami anyway. So I can only imagine what Giannis is going to be doing in Miami. I I don't know if his innocence is still going to be there. He's not going to be able to really do those interviews where he's like, "How come no one told me about Oreos and milk?" Like you're not going to
right.
really have those conversations in Miami. You might be able to get away with, "Oh my God, this Cuban sandwich is delicious," but like
Right.
he kind of loses that. I don't know that boy next door charm, that innocence that he had now that he's in Miami.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, he's been in Milwaukee for the last, 13 seasons, I believe. So it's you have to look at it as, he is one of those big time dominoes to fall where he's been with this franchise for all these years. And um yeah, it's really interesting to see this trade go down. Absolute blockbuster. Won't be a bigger trade this year. So I think
Yeah,
this is the monster. So I think, yeah. Uh
it
but
is.
it,
It
it's
is
it, it's
weird.
it's a huge trade.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is interesting to see like just how long it took them to get to this point. Because like you said, it was like eight. Last year he was upset. During the year he was upset, and then finally, like, I'm just curious to know, like, what was this deal, and how is any different than any of the deals that you offered in the past, like at the trade deadline or something to that effect. I'm trying to figure out what the other offers were that they said no to, because obviously the Boston one seemed to be a little silly, but this one seemed just like they just kind of threw up their hands and said, "Screw it, we got to get something."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of it, I mean, Giannis dictates this conversation. If he's like, I am not going to come back and play my normal brand of basketball. I am not feeling it with this organization. You have to kind of pivot to that and kind of just go get the most you humanly can. And I do think they made the right choice. I would not have taken the Jalen Brown and two firsts for Giannis. To me, that's just not enough. So I think in terms of team building, that they gave themselves a good opportunity to do something moving forward. But man, it's just when you have one of those top guys, those MVP caliber level players, you just can't let them go because they don't come around that often. They
No,
just they literally don't. He's still the best downhill put pressure on the rim guy in the NBA right now. There's not one better.
yeah. I'm curious to see how him and Bam coexist. See if they're see how that looks. Obviously, Bam's been kind of carrying the team for the past couple of seasons, and then Giannis has never really been a second fiddle, and he's not going to be a second fiddle in Miami. So I'm going to be curious to see how like they figured out that dynamic and how they get them both the ball and how they both can get those 2020 games. But at some point they're going to have to go to the bench, and some point someone else is going to have to play. And if and
Yeah.
I saw rumors about Clay Thompson being one of those. I was like, if Clay Thompson's your hope for bench play nowadays, we got a long way to go for you to figure this one out. But it is very unique though that we're in this transition period of the changing of the guard. Like all the people that we when we were in college and even after college, in late double O's and teens and stuff, like those guys are starting to kind of call it a day and going off in the sunset. And then you have like the new breeds coming in that are kind of taking over your Ant Edwards, your Luka Doncic's, your uh, Jason Tatum's of the world. But it's just a very unique cycle that the NBA is in right now, and you're going to have more of these trades whenever the cycles are happening.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of higher expectations when there's this much kind of spread out amongst all of the superstars in the league. And yeah, those expectations usually lead to trades happening, and you see, guys like Giannis on the move, Luca on the move. You see these guys that in previous years they would be clung to with
Yeah.
with both hands by the organization. So I think very, very interesting move, but honestly, not very surprising because less than 28 hours before, Shams said Giannis will be traded. And so whenever he says those words, it's going to happen. So it was just a matter of seeing which team.
Does he just enjoy these late night sham drops? Does he just like, all right, 11 p.m., let's drop it? Just like can we get like a, I don't know, at 6 p.m. or a 4 o'clock? But I guess the way you do it is you throw it up in the middle of the night, let it simmer, and everyone wakes up to it, and then talk about it the next morning. So I guess it's good television.
Well, I think it's good television, but I also really do think he tries to be accurate. Like I don't think that he's gonna and sometimes he's been too quick with the draw and he hasn't got the details right. So I think he knows the trade is going to happen. He knows with the team. He just may not know 100% of the details. So I think that until he knows just, hey, boom, breaking news. These are the ABCs, XYZ of everything.
Yeah,
I think usually he just errs on the side of, hey, I'm gonna kind of be a little bit cautious as to how I approach it. But being the one to break all this news, I think it is a big responsibility to get things right, but to also be quick with the draw. It's a
yeah.
delicate balance.
Well, also with this one too, you got to make sure you got all your names right, all the draft picks years right, and make sure you got pick swaps in place. And because if not, then people are gonna go back and be like, "Dude, you screwed this one up left and right." Um,
Yeah.
Another trade that happened too was the Timberwolves got rid of Julius Randle.
For a bag of peanuts and chips. It was like,
Yeah,
we don't want to pay you. We'll just take you for a second round pick, basically. And that's just basically getting him off the books. And so I think that's how you treat Julius Randle at this point in his career. Just not a guy that's really conducive to winning and not really efficient when you need him the most
he gave us
or at
trouble.
all.
He gave us trouble just on the defensive end, not really on offense, but definitely on defense. He was definitely able to push Wimby around a little bit more than I wanted him to. But yeah, man, it's just it's he's just that player, man. He's that kind of player.
Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely a really big, strong body that can affect you defensively to a certain degree when he's just allowed to just
Pushing.
be just allowed to be just two hands on you or when you're coming off a screen, then yeah, it's it increases his value when the style of play leans towards that. But yeah, I agree. This is him going to Brooklyn where he essentially is potentially gonna fall off a cliff, so let's just
I mean, he's the only guy there, so
yeah, he's the only guy there for now. They do have Mikel Brown. They did draft him 6th
at least they don't have
overall, and
five picks like they did last year.
bro, I thought they shoulda went Acuff. I thought if you were going with an undersized guard that you need some offense from, you shoulda went with Acuff, but at the end of the day, Brooklyn Nets be Brooklyn netting.
Yeah, they're still gonna be low bro no matter what they do. They like even when they got Kyrie and Kevin Durant, they were still little bro to the Knicks. And that's when the Knicks sucked.
I mean, I'm not gonna go that far. They were close. They were a Kevin Durant on the toe on the line from
Oh
doing
yeah.
something special.
But in terms of just like appeal and market and just
Yes.
in New York City, they're like, give a fuck about the Nets. What are the Knicks doing?
Yes, that is true. In terms of overall appeal and sellability, yeah, I 100% agree. It's always been New York. Um, but yeah, that Julius Randle trade not really moving the needle for me, but hey, it means we're not gonna see him in Minnesota, and it frees up a lot of cap space for them. So interesting to see what moves they will make to try to combat us because we
Yeah.
know they're looking at the second round playoff series against us, as that's the hurdle they need to jump next. So we'll see what they do to try to fight Wemby. And speaking of fighting Wemby, I think
I was
that's
about to say,
exactly
yeah,
that's exactly what OKC did with their pick just now, and getting Mara,
yeah.
7'3" big man from Michigan. I mean, I think that's exactly why you see them make that pick right there. A guy that's polished around the rim, can play really well, is smart. I think it's a guy that is clearly like, we want some additional size to frustrate Wemby potentially, and interesting move.
So are they gonna rotate 3 7-footers?
I think it's just a guy that could be a wrinkle. Like,
Okay.
it's a guy off the bench. Hartenstein's having a bad game. He's in foul trouble. Chet's folding like a lawn chair again. It's like, okay, then let's bring in Mara, see if he can give us 12 minutes of interesting looks. So I think, to me, that makes a lot of sense if he's replacing, a guy like Aaron Wiggins, who they just let go. So
Right.
I think, they were essentially not able to even play Aaron Wiggins, so this could be an upgrade there, but he's pretty slow, so I think that we could attack him if they do. So I mean, it's a little give and take there.
Yeah, no doubt. I just as long as we have as long as we go out and get someone to help out with our front court, then I really doesn't matter who anyone else gets, to be honest with you. Cuz if people weren't ready for year 3 Wimby, they're definitely not going to be ready for year 4 Wimby. That's for damn sure. Like now even more motivated superstar who is going to be just fixated on getting back to the championship, at least getting back to the finals and winning that final. So I think we're going to see a very locked in team from our guys, but we just got to fill those holes, man. Got to fill those holes and make sure that those are good fits and that they gel together just like they did this year. Like this was probably watching the Spurs play, probably the most gelled team I've seen in
Since
15 years.
2014, yeah, since 2014, since the
Yeah, okay,
beautiful
since a
game.
selfie, yeah, since a selfie.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that was really fun to watch, but, I just hope that we can build off that and we can continue to kinda have that growth, but it starts with the draft and kinda how we approach it and who we get.
Yeah, largely, I mean, I think a lot of us were maybe thinking we might make a small move, be a part of some kind of three-team trade where we might move either the 20th pick or one of these 3 second rounders we got coming up tomorrow. I think some of us were hopeful in that regard. I was one of them. I was like, "Maybe we don't need 3 second rounders. We can get rid of 2 of these and really maximize this 20th and 35th, and make something happen, or even potentially trade up to the high 20s." And so I think that there was some potential mobility there. And but yeah, I think this draft could be very telling. The chances of all these picks turning into something, materializing into playing time, is slim to none. But I do think that we can generate some type of player that's going to get minutes for us, whether, first round, second round. We have the capability of finding the diamond
Yeah.
in the rough.
1000%. I agree. I can't disagree with that at all. I also saw some rumors that we might be trading back to be more in the mid to late 20s. So I don't know if we just find the person or someone just not a great fit, but it is cool to see, I guess, the pendulum swing this year because it seems like we're getting a lot more centers and forwards than we have in the past
Yeah.
so far
And there's
so far this draft.
I agree. And the thing is, I think that opens up the that next tier of forwards and centers to kind of fall back later into the first round, and potentially into the high second round, when it's like, okay, there was a lot of high quality bigs taken at the beginning, and so there's a less of a focus, and I think that we're going to see a lot more guards taken here soon. And I think that means that we could end up with somebody like Henry Vassar, or maybe even if Sanak Jr. ends up slipping to somewhere in the late 20s, if we do end up trading back, that could be very interesting.
I mean, if we keep 20 and Karim Lopez is still there, I wouldn't hate that. Like I said in our last episode,
Yeah, that could be very interesting. Yeah, we just saw Steinbach. He was picked by the Hornets. That is a good big for them, and it seems like there's a lot
a
of
lot of
bigs
bigs.
being taken. Yeah, being taken right now. He's a solid 6'10", 6'11", probably like one of the best rebounders in college basketball. So I think that is a solid pick for the Hornets and their front court. Just a lot of good young bigs. They had Kalkbrenner last year in the draft, who was multiple time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, and then they get Steinbach this year. I mean, they're starting to put together some good young talent out there.
Trying to.
Well, I mean,
They're getting there
well, I mean, it's a slow process. I'm not gonna lie. They ended one of our winning streaks this year, so I have to give them credit for what they did. But did they fold in the play in? And Khan was kind of figured out, and they ran some doubles at him, and he looked rattled. So there was obvious areas where they need to improve. But I still feel like that's a good young team when you look at Khan and Brandon
for
Miller
sure.
and
Yeah.
all their pieces. It's you know decent time to be a Hornets fan. Decent, not good, but it's
Never.
decent.
It was only good in like 96 with the starter jackets.
Bro, those jackets were absolutely tough. Everyone had those puffy things. Yeah. But there's so many interesting ways that the Spurs can take this. I think obviously we need to address the elephant in the room, and we said that in the episode previously. The backup big situation. Can we bring in somebody that's going to absorb the contact from Wemby, that can make him feel like he can roam a little bit? And that's something that I think can be addressed with the 20th pick, whether it's Sanak Jr., whether it's Vassar, whether it's, we wait to the 35th pick and we get a really solid big like Reed from UConn. And there's a lot of interesting wrinkles that we could be doing. But ultimately, I think this 20th pick, it has the potential to be somebody that's actually special, even though we haven't really done a lot with our previous 20th overall picks.
Yeah, it's weird being this late in the draft now because we're used to 1, 2, 3, or 4, 14, 8, 9, and now we're like 20. It's like, good God, I was in bed by this time last year.
Dude, yeah. I mean, we were live from the start of the draft, talked about Dylan Harper, got excited, waited for Carter Bryant, talked about him, was pumped, and then we hopped off. So it was good times. But it brought me it made me think a little bit, you know, where we've been with the 20th pick in previous years. So we've had the 20th pick in two previous seasons. Do you know who we selected with those picks
In 2 previous seasons
in two previous drafts?
at 20. 2020. Who was 20?
And this will put this into perspective whether or not these players end up working out or not. Both are guards.
Both are man, I
One
can't even think of it. Because Primo was 18, wasn't he?
Primo, I think, was
Or
11.
eleven? Yeah, so it
Yeah,
wasn't
he was
him. Who were they?
James Anderson.
James Anderson was 20?
Yes.
I thought it was 25. Damn. We've talked about James Anderson a lot lately.
We have. Honestly, too much. We will never talk about him again from here on out. Um, yeah, James Anderson and then Malachi Branham.
Malachi was 20. I remember that.
So it's It's guys that they have some promise, but at the end of the day, do they end up working out? Is the likelihood there?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. So, we gotta keep that into perspective. We're very hopeful.
I mean, I was hopeful for Malachi Brandon, but just he didn't play defense, and that was his problem.
Yeah, you gotta be able to play both sides of the ball, absolutely. Do I think the Spurs will truly draft Vassar? I in my heart of hearts, I don't think we will, but would that absolutely fit all of the needs that we would try to go after? Absolutely. Does it give us a backup center we can play for 10, 12 minutes, defend the rim? Yes. 43% from beyond the arc, can catch and shoot, left left hooks, right hooks over both shoulders. Like he kind of has a little competitive edge. When he fights with other players, you don't see him back down.
Yeah.
A lot of intangible stuff. And there was someone in our comments at TikTok that said, "Oh, but you didn't watch him in Arizona when he wasn't good." And I'm like, well, that just goes to show how much he's grown as a
Yeah.
player. He literally had the 4th overall pick on his team and still had enough food on his plate to absolutely eat and
Yeah.
and and be one of the best bigs in the country. So I think that to me screams, "Hey, I can play next to Wemby and you can be eating and I'll still find a way to be useful when I can."
And you know what, Rob? He's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that.
Yes. He is 7 feet tall with good touch and can shoot and can rebound. Like, what are we yeah, he would fit. He would fit. I mean, he still needs to get in better shape. His, like, mobility was a little limited. There's some stuff there that can be improved upon, of course, but
But honestly, if he's the type of guy that we can put in, like you said, 12 minutes while Wimby's on the bench getting rest, and we can slow the game down to where Wimby's not missing, 10 possessions, he's only missing 8 possessions, then that really kind of makes things a little bit better for us. And if he can fill that void, that'd be awesome. Let me ask you, Rob, can you name the best 20th overall pick in to ever get picked at 20th in the NBA draft?
oh my goodness. Best 20th pick ever. Hmm. Honestly, I can't think of too many people specifically picked at 20. I know that huh. Yeah, actually, everyone I'm thinking of is in the 20s, but, not 20 specifically. Who's the best?
Larry Nance Sr.
Larry Nance Sr. Wow.
And I mean that's statistically the best 20th pick in the NBA draft of all time. If I gave you a different name, I think you'd pick him over Larry Nance Sr.
Okay.
It's your favorite big man, not a Spur.
My favorite big man, not a Spur?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Big Z?
Yeah.
There we go. Dude, I love Big Z. So underrated. I
Just
think
yeah, man, if we could get Zagunas Ilgauskas at 20 right now, I'd be so happy.
dude, I would be. He's very slow-footed for today's NBA, wouldn't be able to guard a whole lot, but at the same time, underrated perimeter shooter, and you would need to step out on him. You
You
would
have to.
need to.
And he could
That
pass.
he could pass very well. Well, that was the interesting wrinkle to his game. He was 6'6" until his senior year of high school, so he was actually a guard. He was a combo guard in Lithuania, and then when he went to college, he just sprouted up to 7 foot, and they're like, "Oh my god, you can't play guard anymore. Like, we got to get you down low." And so he just ended up being this 7'3", just mammoth of a person, while simultaneously having these guard skills from just a couple of years prior.
Yeah. He was old school Cavs before LeBron
Yeah. Oh yeah.
with those
I
blue and white jerseys. Those are sweet. I like those. Bring those
and
back.
that's why I watched him a lot when I was building my game. It was like, how can I find different skill sets while not using a lot of athleticism.
Yeah,
Yeah, Big Z.
1000%.
Yeah.
You just got I mean, that's kinda like what we're watching with the World Cup right now. A lot of these older players are just in good positions and helping their team score goals because they're just right place, right time. They're not overextending themselves, and they even talked about it, today. I think it was, Zlatan and, TT. They were talking about, can Messi play in the next World Cup? And it's like, yeah, the way he plays and the way that he's able to just be in space and he doesn't overextend himself. He lets the younger guys build up the play, and he's just there to have one touch and shoot it. And he can do
Yeah.
that. He can do that till he's blue in the face.
Yeah, that's what the great players do. That's when you treat your body well and you're an absolute master of your craft. That's what happens. Dr. Spurs, yes, if we do draft Fasar, how much do you think he will help with the non-Wemby minutes, considering that was a huge weak point for us last season? Yes, I do think that he's going to help a lot. Well, do I think he's going to immediately be more effective than Luke Cornett in the non-Wemby minutes? I think that's a lofty expectation for a rookie to be that effective, but I do think he would instantly be a more reliable option than Bismack, than Kelly Olynyk,
Oh,
and
1000%.
and Mason Plumlee. So I think it gives us that reliable third guy. If there is an injury, Cornette's hurt his shoulder, you know, Wemby's gonna they're gonna look at Wemby for technical fouls now a lot more
Oh, yeah.
than they did previously. So if he misses a game because of an ejection or something like that, and we need to play Vassar bigger minutes, I am confident that he does have skills enough to make that happen. But I mean, obviously, I'm putting a lot of expectations on a guy that had one really good year at UNC, and outside of that, he really hasn't done a ton outside of that. So it's interesting to see what we're gonna get with this 20th pick, whether it's we go with a guy that's been 3 or 4 years in college and we're expecting him to be good right now, or we're gonna get a freshman like Sanak Jr., who we know he's gonna be a finished product by 2030.
Yeah, that's what you have to decide at pick 20. You have to kind of weigh those options and see what best fits you. And I don't know if there's an actual perfect fit at 20, and it's not someone that's going to be necessarily in the rotation all the time. Like I wouldn't surprise me if we end up going with whoever we pick at 20. We're going to be in he's going to be in the rotation a little bit, but nothing crazy. He might get a game or two where like he plays a bunch of minutes, but when it comes to like postseason, because now we are a postseason squad, when it comes to then that I want to see this number 20 pick or any big man that we get to help our front court. I want them to just extend that rotation just a few more minutes and come in and just be a disruptor because I mean, as much as we loved playing Wimby 38 minutes or whatever it was, dude, he just ran out of gas at the end of the day. So you just need someone that can relieve those minutes and keep Wimby rested. Because I mean, the biggest thing that I saw with Wimby when whenever he would get tired is that shot go away, and when he's not making shots and he's not getting to the basket, it's a long night for us.
Yeah. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's just about having a unified front, and the fact that we just didn't feel comfortable going to any other big outside of Cornet for maybe 8 or 10
Yep.
minutes a lot of the game. It spoke to a lot of how confident we were in our front court rotation. That's why I feel like addressing this issue right here, right now, getting somebody that has maybe played a couple years under their belt in college and feels more comfortable to contribute right here, right now. Because as much as I would love to be like, oh, let's go after a freshman that has a lot of high potential and yada yada, like I would love to go after somebody that has played 4 years of college basketball, 3 years of college basketball, that's ready to play
Right.
now, that you can plug in. They're smart enough, they can adapt, and they're helping us go out there and win games right here, right now, not in 2030. But
Yeah.
at the
And
end of the day, we can't be picky with what we get at 20.
Yeah, and that's why I want that's why a guy like Karim Lopez just kind of stands out to me because he was doing it at a professional level in Australia, and that's why, like, for me, that if he's able to go and be in a league overseas, which I would consider 2, 3, depending on which day of the week we're talking, league in the entire world outside the NBA. I like that aspect of it, of going to a hostile environment. You know, it's a rival team. He's able to put up numbers. He's able to play with the big boys, and also he's not scared of travel or anything like that. Obviously, these college guys are doing more now, but it's just different when you're on a professional team. And I look like, look like Lonzo Ball, like him going overseas and him playing professionally. I think that did wonders for his game over what college could have done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's a lot more you learn in terms of different style habits and just somebody that played college basketball. Like the offense we ran was antiquated. It had
Yeah,
been in place for 25 years and there was adaptations and wrinkles added to make it more nuanced for the modern game, but still the meat and potatoes and the bare bones of it was really old. And so yeah, you want to see more pro style offenses happening and those guys, those young guys that can adapt to those environments, those are the guys that are successful. And and you know what? Guys like Karim Lopez, it's still a possibility. We're at pick 17 right now, and I was expecting him to be picked by now,
yeah.
but you know,
He's
he
a
might.
little he's a little undersized for what we really need. Um, so it'd be cool if he was like 6'11", but I think he still has a 7-foot wingspan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it looks like there was a trade. Yeah, I'm trying to get the details of the trade. Yeah, it looks like they're sending yeah, it looks like Memphis is sending Bennett Sturts, the 16th overall pick to Oklahoma City. I'm trying to get the specifics on that. It's not pulling up. I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting to see which kind of moves people are going to make. Dang, Oklahoma City, they sure up a lot of a lot of their rotation. Sturts is a hell of a shooter. Hell of a
Yeah.
shooter.
I mean, we all knew they were gonna get to this point where they just have draft picks and they have a bunch of them and they're just sending players away and stashing up more draft picks, and then they're utilizing the draft picks now to move around. So they're just, I mean, I think because they're in Oklahoma City and there's nothing to do, they just sit there and play 2K on like Hall of Fame mode and trying to figure out, all right, trade wise, how do we do this? And then they see if it works on 2K, and then they come out in the real world and they're like, oh, sweet, it did work.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes that is how the real world works. You have to just kind of move these pieces and hope they fit and think about how these things are going to work on paper. And that's how that's honestly how the top of the draft. Let's just scroll back up to the
Yeah.
top of the draft and it's kind of what we were talking about with AJ DeBonsa and why they went with the first overall pick. And you need a guy like that when you sign Trey Young to the extension he gets, and you have Anthony Davis and Alex Sarr, bigs for the future, a big right now. And all you're missing is that dynamic wing who can get downhill and be the young face of your franchise. And they have every bit of that. Not only the player, but the marketability and the young personality. He's got a lot of character to him. So there's a lot of interesting elements to what Washington can do, but will they do it? I don't know.
Do you think Donald Trump sends out a truth welcoming him to DC?
I don't know.
Welcome, AJ.
AJ, we've got to deport this guy. I don't know. Like that sounds like something he'd say. I don't know.
He was like, "Is he Mexican?"
I don't know.
But man, that Trey Young contract is so wild to me still. Like he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but it's just they're going to have such a hard time getting off that contract if they ever decide to try to get off that contract. And then I look at our De'Aaron Fox contract. I'm like, well, at least it's not Trey Young's contract.
Well, I mean, I think contracts, you just have to see them play out because we knew De'Aaron Fox's contract wasn't the best, and now it's like, "Oh my god, it's terrible." So, like, I think now we're looking at Trey Young's contract, and it's like, "Oh, well, it's not the best." And then all of a sudden, if he, like, gets hurt, doesn't play a lot, or they fail to make the playoffs, or just, like, there's, like, not a lot of there's a bunch of friction amongst the ranks. It's like, we could be looking at that as, like, the new bad contract, even more so than De'Aaron Fox. So I think right now Fox has the major stinker of a contract, but I do think that there's the possibility of the league looking at that contract as equally undesirable.
Yeah, I mean to the point now where I saw that if the Kings can't move DeMar DeRozan, they're just going to waive him.
It doesn't surprise me. He's just a guy that needs the ball in his hands a lot at this stage in his career, and that's just not conducive to winning basketball at this point. I mean, can he still play? Can he still get his shot off and be effective? Yes,
Sure.
but you're not going to win a bunch of games if he's playing big minutes.
The problem is he shoots twos and the other team's shooting threes. That's what we've found in San Antonio is like as great and as efficient as he was, it's mid ranges are great to watch, but it sucks whenever the other team's just raining threes on you and you're like, we can't even get back in this game.
Well, now and see, my counter to a lot of that would be you could bring him off the bench in minimal minutes, and if your starters weren't doing so hot, like he's a guy that if he did accept a role of 12, 14 minutes a game, we need you to be a microwave if and when we need you. I do think he could be something like that, but he's just never had that role at all in his career. He's always been a big
Yeah.
minutes, I'm going to shoot a bunch kind of guy. And that's obviously not what is needing to happen at this point. CV is saying we probably win the chip with Trey instead of Fox. It's very interesting. I think it's, a fun hypothetical, but, at the end of the day, I think that either one of them are going to have the same issues against the Knicks.
If Madison Square Garden hated Wimby, could you imagine if it was Wimby and Trey on the same team? Like that would be that would be such loud boos. It would be even louder than the hydration breaks we're hearing during the World Cup. Like it would I don't even know how they would even manage to watch that team if Wimby and Trey were on the same team in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, there would be so much hate. There would be like they were throwing eggs at Wemby. They'd be throwing straight up like cinder blocks at them if it was Trey Young and Wemby together. Yeah, it would be absolute pandemonium. And I think very, very interesting hypothetical, but I do think both guards get the same amount of exposed. But I also do think that Trey Young has a baseline level of facilitation that De'Aaron Fox can't fall back on.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I
fair.
think I think that Trey Young, while he does shoot a lot of just inefficient shots, he is one of the best lob passers in the league, can pass people open better than Fox. So there is a lot of just differences where I think maybe Fox would be less desirable than a guy like Trey in our offense. So it is what it is.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll never know.
Yeah, we will absolutely never know. Fun hypothetical though. But also one thing I do want to do is I want to clear up my Darren Peterson take because there was a lot of people hating me on all social media platforms about that take. Um, me saying that he was going to be Jamal Crawford esque was saying that if he didn't develop any playmaking and he just kind of kept the same as he is. But I think that I see more Devin Booker in his game than I do anything else when I see his ability
It's a
to
good comparison.
overpower the smaller guards and get to his shots. And And, he's not as tall as Devin Booker, but I think he maneuvers around pick and rolls and defenses even better. So I think when it's all said and done, I see more Devin Booker, and if he continues to develop, I don't see why he doesn't have a similar trajectory, being able to be one of the league's best scorers and play make when he needs to. It's like back when Chris Paul, was in Phoenix and he went down and you saw Devin Booker start to play make more. I think Darren Peterson could be doing things like that in the future. Yeah, very, very interesting.
Of a career. So it's not a slight by any means on Peterson. It's just the you see what you see, and that's all we know right now. We don't know what the next year's going to look like. We don't know what 2-3 years they're going to look like. I mean, shit, he could be Anthony or yeah Anthony Bennett. Like, we never know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think he will be, but like, we
No,
just don't we
no.
don't know until they're actually in there. Like, we didn't know that was it Mikal Fritz was going to lose his jump shot. We didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we this is all speculation, like, not to say that he's gonna be any of these players that I mentioned, but, we don't know. So we have to kind of hedge our bets and say, this player, and hopefully he falls somewhere in between there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of speculation, especially at this point in the draft. I just think that the way Darren Peterson plays, I think that there is a pretty safe floor with him and with Debansa, and also with Cam Boozer. Like we haven't really talked about Cam Boozer being one of the most complete players in the draft, arguably
Man.
the guy that the Spurs could benefit the most. Like
Yeah.
imagine having a legit 6'8", 6'9" power forward, 250, like actually wants to be like putting his shoulder down into
Yeah.
people, getting double doubles. It's like that would be a guy that we would love to have, a true power forward.
And they really don't have to change much from a Grizzly standpoint, because him and Triple J are essentially the same player. They kind of do a lot of very similar things, and maybe that's what John Morant's just to get his career kind of jump started again, is just someone like a Triple J, but maybe someone that can default to him instead of trying to take more shots or whatever. But at the same time, like, John Morant still, he lost his midi too, so I don't know if that's going to really get them out of the the dump, but a lot can happen. Boozer did say that we're all going to look back and we're going to say he should have gone number one.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that he is the most complete player right here, right now. I mean, obviously, I think Peterson and Debansa both have higher ceilings and they're far more dynamic prospects. But I think if you put Boozer on any team right now for the 26-27 season, and even if they're a contender, he's going to make that team better. And I
Yeah,
think there's unique ways where he does things better than either of them. Like his playmaking better than
right.
Debansa and Peterson. And so I think, yeah, there's skill sets that make him a better Swiss Army knife type of guy that I like better. Um, oh, we got a little Adam Senna in the comment section. Sanak or Graves to the Spurs. I think I think either way, we're getting a guy that's gonna help us. We're gonna get a 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" kind of forward that can do multiple things. I like Graves as a high IQ player, can keep the ball moving, pretty good rebounder, good ball handler, can get downhill finish. I just wonder about getting somebody from a conference that, like, I'm a little bit untrusted with the Santa Clara, to be brutally honest. I'm a
I can
little
only
bit.
name one other guy that went to Santa Clara.
Well, I mean, I love his skill set, but I'm more so liking somebody like Sanak Jr. because of his additional frame and his size and the fact that he does do a lot of like mid-range pull-up stuff very well. But ultimately, I think both of these guys, they're going to need to grow outside of who they are now to
I
be
agree.
useful to us. It's like neither of these guys are hey, we're just gonna roll him out there. But I worry that Graves is gonna be just like a slightly different version of what Sohan was for us, and I don't know if I love that.
I can tell you I do not.
Yeah.
with with certainty. I do not. But
But
you
but
know,
but but
I
but
guess
he
I
can
do
shoot
want to
better.
say,
He can shoot better. He can definitely shoot
okay, yeah,
better.
you can shoot better. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, still can't shoot the ball, but
Right.
we're gonna get a summer video from him 1000%, and everyone say, oh, they fixed his jumper. But shout out to Christian Anderson for getting drafted to the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not well, yeah, I knew J-Dub was absolutely there, but honestly, I forgot Pods. I forgot about Pods. But I ultimately, I'm just not I would rather go somebody for a specific fit, and I know that Graves is the IQ pick. So if like you're wanting if you're wanting to go with the guy that is absolutely going to have more of a more of an effect on how the offense moves from an X's and O's standpoint, then Graves is definitely the pick. I just think that Sanak Jr. gives me the guy that could end up being like the power forward of the future in obviously not right now, but 3 or 4 years. I think that he could end up being that dude that we kind of we kind of rely on him to be the all right, we're going to put a shoulder into somebody and move him a little bit.
Yeah, he's gonna take those Carter Bryant minutes, and Carter Bryant's gonna have a bigger role.
Potentially. I would love to see Carter Bryant develop more offensively to be a little bit more sure-handed with the ball so that he could be dribbling and like kind of maneuvering the offense with his I guess with his ability to be more dynamic in non-slashing situations.
He'll
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah, he certainly can. He absolutely can.
If he can hit that corner three and kind of fill in that Harrison Barnes role, and we can get him into those kind of minutes, like when Harrison Barnes was dropping 20 and we are calling Mr. 100% before he fell off a cliff, I think that would be an ideal situation. And then we slide this pick into that role.
Yeah.
But we're probably going to see this pick in Austin quite a bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It's gonna take a lot for them to develop into somebody that we're gonna play right now. Yeah, Graves has way more shooting, underwhelming athlete. Yeah, his he can get to the rim well, but the verticality is not there. And so I think just me seeing him as a rebounder kind of strength guy that we need, that's not inspiring me with a lot of confidence. But I also think that the IQ, he could be like the I don't wanna compare him to, like, Boris Diaw in a lot of ways, but, like, he's the guy that you could get the ball to, and he's hot potatoing it, and he's keeping it moving, and he's a legit 6'9". I guess more so like a Kyle Anderson would be a comp for him. I think that would
Slow
be
mo,
to a certain degree, but obviously his shooting is better.
quicker release. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, definitely a quicker release. But, yeah, we got Toronto on the clock at 19, and then we're up next.
Speaking of Toronto, have you been seeing the crazy stories about the World Cup where like the people that are going from like Mexico to US and to Canada and they're like, dude, Canada sucks. Like Canada is like they're not hospitable. They're not fun to be around. They tell us we got to stop drinking and everyone's like, we thought America was going to tell us that, but it's really Canada. So shout out to all those cities and bars that are hosting some of these crazy fans, especially the Scottish fans. Good God, keep those cones away from those boys because they are causing all kinds of havoc. And right now they're in Miami. So they are also getting very sunburnt from what the videos I've seen.
Yeah.
Those poor pale skin friends.
That's what happens when you're outside all day celebrating and you're drinking and it's the sun will get to you, dude, especially if you're pasty. Um, yeah, I think that well, I would like to potentially go after 2 front court options. So
Sure.
Vassar Sanak Jr. wouldn't be upset with that. or if it was Graves and Vassar, something where it was like power forward center, big forward center, like I'm okay with those options. Um, but ultimately, I would love a connective player like Graves, but I also think just the absorbing the physicality from Wemby needs to be the priority, and I'm also down to just go best available. I'm also
Yeah,
down to just kinda just see where
Graves
the
just went.
cards. Oh, Graves just went. There we go.
That answers that question. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Crim's still on the board.
Yeah, we
If you want to sell jerseys with Lopez on the back, San Antonio is the place to do it, dog. I tell you that.
dude, yeah. All right. We
We'll
are
see. I mean,
on the clock.
there's plenty of options, and we also still got free agency too. So we still got to see what happens with free agency and see how that all turns out and who we go after there. And in free agency, I'd rather find a free agent to play that power forward role next to Wimby before this player. But I also love to see what we get here.
Yeah, I think we gotta go Sanak. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes all the sense in the world. I think, man, if we pick a guard right here, I will be thoroughly disappointed.
If we pick a guard right here, I'm leaving this live right now, like, as soon as it happens, because I cannot deal with another guard.
Dude, honestly, if I will not blame you for leaving the live if that happens.
Yeah, give me Sanak. I
You can
like I
you can
like 6'11" over 6'9".
but just please give us a valid crash out first, and then you can storm out of the chat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. No doubt. I'll crash. I'll crash out like a political commentator. No doubt.
Yeah, Dr. Spurs, will the Giannis trade help or hurt the Heat? Just curious. We were talking a little bit about it earlier, but at the end of the day, I do think that it's going to be pretty tough for them to bounce back immediately because of the lack of bench that they have. But that starting five doesn't look too bad. I think
Yeah.
that they're going to be a playoff team in the East,
We'll
but
just
I
see how
don't.
healthy they are. I think that's the biggest question mark for me is, can Giannis stay healthy? And if he stays healthy, then yeah, they're going to be a huge threat in the East. But if track records continue to show what he's been the past few years, then that's gonna be a very uphill battle.
Yeah, very uphill indeed. Yeah, I do think that there is some flexibility because you can have Bam be on ball, point of attack defender, like on their like best big, and then you can kind of have Giannis roaming a little bit more, which is a situation that he's never really had. He's always been the I'm gonna be right up on you, defending your best big kind of guy. And so to have another defensive big like Bam that can switch even better than Giannis, I think
Yeah.
that's something that is very, very interesting that he hasn't experienced. So I'm interested to see that dynamic.
Do you think he's going to continue to play like 30 plus minutes, or do you think it's going to drop down a little more to like 27, 25?
I think
Giannis,
that
that is.
I think that largely depends, like we were just saying, on the bench. Like
Bench, yeah.
if there's no one that can come in and they're like, "Hey, we only have Nikola Jovic on the bench to
All
come
we
in at
have
power
is
forward."
Bismack Biyombo and Kelly Olynyk.
Right. You might see Mason Plumlee in a Heat jersey next year. Yeah,
Probably one
could
that
be.
needs to add to his journeyman collection anyway.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We just have a minute and some change left until the pick is in, guys. Yeah, I really hope we get a big. I really hope that we make the positional decision that we need. And we
Tim
could.
Legler is saying that we need a combo guard.
Oh, Tim, let like legs, shut the hell up. Like
He did say stretch four, but he also said combo guard under that. I'm like, noted.
I mean, I would welcome some more shooting. I mean, but is that our most clear need? No. We had 3 bench bigs that we could not play in the playoffs. We need to replace all of those 3 with somebody that is competent. Not
Yeah,
not shitting on, but I mean, we could go Krim Lopez, Sanak Jr. I think it's too early to go Quaintance. I think it's, yeah, we need to go Sanak Jr. I think Sanak Jr. makes the most sense.
just another big dude. 6'11", was he
240,
240?
245. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's big. He's a big guy. And he could exist in the pick and roll, pick and pop. He was good. A little rough, not completely offensively
it,
polished, a
it's
freshman,
a
but
project. It's a project.
yeah. All right, time up. Come on, guys.
Dun 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 dun.
So interesting. Come on, guys. We've got to make a good decision here. We've got to make the right decision because this is
If it's a name I don't know that's from Europe, I'm gonna be like, are we going back to this?
could be Karim. Ultimately, there's a few different things. There's a few different options I wouldn't be super
It's
upset
like
about.
it's like the pick is in and we're going to commercial. It's like
Brought to you by
hydration
Knicks
break.
fans. Yeah, brought to you by Knicks fans. Oh man, I'm on pins and needles. Who are the Spurs going to select? Yeah, I think I may be on like a couple of second delay from you.
Then
So you,
I will hold my tongue. I will bite my tongue until the pick gets in.
absolutely.
It's like we traded the number 20 pick for LeBron James.
Oh my god.
I
Yeah,
did see an
I'm
interesting the trade rumor mill in on Spurs Twitter has been absolutely hilarious. And I've seen like so many crazy trades and we're going to trade Fox for Kevin Durant and all this other stuff and I'm just like, "Oh my god." Like do you people just read anything? Like the Facebook's the worst. Like all those Spurs Facebook groups, stay out of them. Just do not open them, don't look at them, don't even look at all those rumors because none of them are true. Man, I have to tell friends like, hey, that's not real. Like
yeah.
we're not going after and getting that player. We're not re-signing Chris Paul to like that's not, unless Shams reports it, then it's real. But other than that, it's just people trying to get clickbait.
Yeah, it's just a yap fest. That's all it is. That's what most social media is nowadays, and we've got to be a little bit more genuine about it, or at least that's what we try to
Genuine.
be. Genuine. Man, I am on pins and needles. Who are we gonna pick over here? Oh, oh, Quaintance,
Okay.
Jayden Quaintance.
Don't
Okay,
don't hate it. I don't love it.
well, and what I said just before this was I said it was a little too early to take Jayden Quaintance, and I don't think it necessarily is. The only thing that worries me is in
Yep.
2025 the complete tearing of his knee. And it's so
Yeah.
obviously when you think about 6'11", 240 pounds, you want somebody that's going to be a little bit more a little I mean, I guess he's listed at 6'9". Like I guess he's listed at 6'9", but um still a big frame, 253. So I think there's a lot to like. So this does give us a legit big, a guy that can be physical, absorb the physicality, and be that third big that we can put out there. This is a legitimate guy that has a lot of long-term upside as well.
If he's healthy enough for us to draft him, then I guess I'm assuming we had that conversation and everything's a okay and he looks good. I just don't want him to get on the floor and to be hesitant or be cautious or anything like that. I mean, obviously he's a big guy, and to get drafted at 20 after tearing your knee says a lot about your talent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he tore his ACL in February 2025, and here he is, and he is the exact contrast to Wemby. I think this could be the iron fist. Wemby's the velvet glove, and they have that power versus technique kind of approach to our front court. And obviously, freshman year put up some pretty good stats. A little over 9 points, 8 rebounds, 2.6 blocks per game. So one of the best block getters in all of NCAA basketball. So I think that there is a lot to like when he played. So I think obviously focusing on the complete, tearing of his ACL needs to be at the forefront of the conversation. We need to make sure that he's ready to be playing minutes and ready to be setting screens and
Yeah,
doing all of those things like absorbing physicality. But I really do think that he is that kind of guy. And a lot of people in our comments were saying, Robert Williams type of guy. This is that guy. He's going to
yeah.
be the lob kind of guy, the guy that's going to go get some rebounds and hopefully if Wemby's getting picked on a little bit, he's the guy that can do something about it a little bit.
That's the idea. That's the idea. I'm not sure how much he plays this year. I don't know if he's going to be seeing the floor much. He might. That knee just concerning to me. But if he was going to stay another year in college, like, are we going to be talking about him being a lottery pick next year? So if that's the conversation, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. Is where he was in his trajectory before his knee injury was he was a lottery guy. And so we're looking at it like we got lottery level talent because he got hurt. And we have the ability to kind of say, hey, we can gamble a little bit and take a guy that in any other draft may go top 12, but here we are snagging him at 20. So I think ultimately I like the pick. Were there a couple other bigs I may like to take more than him? Yes, but
1000%.
but I like the pick. I like the pick. Maybe don't love it, but I like it.
I can see the thought process behind it, and I can appreciate that. Um, Sanak would have been really great. Lopez would have been great too. But yeah, a little early for Jayden there. But hey, man, I trust the front office. I trust the Spurs. They haven't steered us wrong in the past. We had a couple misses here and there, but for the most part, we've been on a pretty solid roll lately. So I'm trusting the organization, and if they saw something and he did something that caught their eye, or I mean, shit, maybe even Wimby jumped in and saw him work out a couple of times and he made the call. I don't know, but being 250 is something that is going to help us out dramatically, especially with those Luke Cornett minutes. Maybe not this year, but somewhere down the line, he's going to be try to take that role of Luke Cornett for sure.
Oh yeah, and ultimately, it's a nice balance because you want somebody that can help you space the floor a little bit and gives you some offensive versatility. He doesn't do that at all. But what he does is he gives us something that is so unique and is in perfect contrast to Wemby. So there's no way that if he's healthy, he won't get minutes.
Yeah.
He will see the floor at some point in the 26-27 season. Um, because we would much rather have him out there than Plumlee or Kelly Olynyk, especially when Kelly Olynyk's making the money he is. Like
Yeah.
we would
Oof.
much rather have this young guy that we can go out there and develop with all of our other young talent as well. There's a lot of upside. He's just so big and so strong. And ultimately, I love that he is everything that Wemby doesn't want to be and kind of shies away from. So like I said, we're going to talk about the contrast and the fit and the utility a lot when it comes to Quaintance. But I think the big question is that knee ready for an 82 game season? That's a big question.
That's the big question. We'll find out. That's for sure. We'll definitely find out. Um, I like it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to think more about it a little bit more, but knee jerk reaction, initial reaction, good pick.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's like, yeah, knee jerk reaction. I'm not I'm not hating that pick. I'm not I'm not mad at that 20th pick overall. Jayden Quaintance is going to be just fine. He's going to do exactly what he's been doing his entire career. That's being big and strong, pushing people out of the paint, getting rebounds, being a really, really good block getter. So I think that he's going to help us defensively, help us rebound. He's going to do a lot of things that are going to be conducive to winning. And and not really taking away from what our offensive guys are going to do. He is not going to command his own shot at
No,
all. He's
no,
never going to be like putting
he's
his
garbage
hand up.
man.
Right, exactly. So I think there's so much about the fit that I even more so that I'm talking about it. I'm talking to myself into it even more. So I think that there is a lot of positivity to what I think Jaden Quaintance could be.
And what this pick also tells me too is that we're going after somebody in free agency. There's somebody on our list that we think that we can pair next to Wimby that can fill that void and be that stretch for. Who that is, I have no idea. We're still gonna have to wait and see what the Spurs do. But this type of situation with the question marks around his knee, unless the Spurs got a stamp of approval from the best knee doctor in the entire world, um, this tells me that they're going after something bigger,
Oh yeah.
something much bigger in free agency that is more of a now than a down the road.
Oh yeah, he Quaintance is not his biggest moments are not going to be in the 26 or the 26-27 season. And I do agree when we are talking about addressing our main power forward issue. I don't think that we're solving it in this draft. It's just the likelihood is slim to none. We've said this before. And ultimately, Eric, I do agree he's going to sit most, if not a large chunk of this year, or we're going to see him playing a lot in Austin. We're going to see him developing his skills in a low stakes environment. So
Yeah,
I think, yeah, there's a lot of upside there. I'm not hating this pick.
yeah, he tore his knee. It's not like he doesn't have them like Dewan
Right.
Blair did.
Right. Yeah. He still has some upside from that perspective. I just think, yeah, there's a lot of other ways we could have gone with this. And you see Detroit right after us snag Lopez.
Yep.
Um, it does make you think, could we have benefited from a guy that's already been playing professional basketball and has a little bit more of a polished skill set right here, right now? Maybe.
Only time will tell. And if Krim Lopez is balling out in Detroit, just like Jalen Duren did, I'm gonna be really pissed off. Because I'm be
Well,
like,
I mean,
again.
yeah.
But
But I mean, it's an interesting Detroit team. But you know what? We're a very interesting team and where we are as well. And I agree. I still think that we have some moves left to be made. Um, Obviously, we still have some front court inadequacies we need to address.
I mean,
But
we could also pair a couple second round picks and try to move up too.
we
If there's someone that we want to go get, I mean that's not out of the realm of possibility. We could just wait till tomorrow and see if we get Vassar or not. But for now, I mean that's where we're at, and we'll go from there.
I really hope Cam is right. Quaintance has Ben Wallace vibes, bro. If he's bringing Ben Wallace type energy to this team, that would be essentially Wemby's bodyguard.
Yeah, if he can just be the football player that didn't really make it in basketball, but he thinks he can play and just bullies himself down low, then we're in a good spot. That's the type of player we need for Wimby.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think anybody that I mean, whether it's Karl Anthony Towns, Isaiah Hartenstein, I guess we don't have to worry about, Julius Randle in Minnesota anymore. It's like when we think about these big physical forwards and centers who have been smacking up Wemby, it's so beneficial to have these big bodies, and we love Luke Cornett and what he does, but there's a lot of times he ends up on the floor, and there's a lot of times where he's not setting a really, really hard, tough screen as much as I want him to. And Quaintance is the kind of guy that he may get an offensive foul every now and then because of a hard screen he's
Yeah.
delaying a little bit too long, but he's he's gonna make that defender know that there's a fucking screen coming. He's gonna make you
Yeah.
feel that screen. So I like that kind of guy.
We like guys with big hair.
Yes, big hair. We're a fan of the big hair. I mean, not like it's not like Lonnie Walker big hair, but large hair, big personality. Yeah,
Welcome
that would be
to the
fire.
Spurs, Jayden.
Yes, welcome to San Antonio, Mr. Quaintance. Absolutely. Yeah. I hope he does well. I mean, I hope he does really
Of
well.
course.
He's got a lot of opportunity. Not
He's
this
18
season.
years old.
Right. I was about to say not this season per se. He's not doesn't have a ton of opportunity right now, but very, very raw, very, very long-term upside type of guy. And
I can dig it.
yeah. Yep. Yep. I can dig it as well. Not much of an offensive game, but a guy that is going to bully you, and I'm all for it, especially after what we saw in the finals. We need some toughness.
Yep.
Need some toughness. But
Big
yeah,
time.
my dude. Anything else you're wanting to chat about in terms of the 20th overall pick, in terms of what the Spurs did here tonight in the first round?
No, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy with the pick. I'm gonna go and watch me some highlights and kind of get a better feel of kind of what he can do. I wasn't I mean he was on my list, but I didn't really think of him as someone that we would actually go out and pick, especially if Sanak was there. But just someone I'm gonna have to do some deep dives in, and we're gonna be fine. That it just tells me there's something bigger cooking, and it's gonna address the need immediately. And this is a need down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a personnel fit that we need right now, but this isn't really the move that's gonna fit that. I think that we're hoping by 2030 that he's somebody that can be in our rotation night in, night out. That could
Yeah,
be that would be really, really nice, and I agree with Cam. I do want some nasty as well.
the
Give me
nastier
the
the better.
nasty. Yeah, absolutely, my
That's
dude.
why we go to ecstasy.
Oh my goodness. Sponsored, but a big time sponsor, friend of the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Cinnamon.
Uh, but yeah, we got a lot of stuff to be excited about, including 3 second round picks tomorrow, 35th, 42nd, and 45th, 44th, I
44.
believe.
Yeah.
44th, yeah. Um, absolutely. But that being said, you want to segue into some dunks, my dude?
I do. I do want to dunk. I want to dunk a lot, actually.
Okay.
Rob, I know at at some point we're gonna have to retire a handful of people because we dunk on them all the time. Like at some point, we're just gonna have to be like, hey, we just can't dunk on them anymore. We got to find someone else. And we're creeping up on this one. I'm gonna dunk on Mayor Gina Ortiz
Thank
because
you.
she came out and was like, Kanye West, I don't want the concert here in San Antonio. I don't like his comments and his anti-Semitism and all this other stuff. Okay, cool. That doesn't mean that you should be pulling that concert, because that concert's also going to bring a lot of revenue to the city that you're the mayor of. That concert is going to be a really big financial lift from coming off an NBA finals where you saw another big financial lift and you hate the Spurs. So I don't know where her priorities are. I don't know how she thinks. And I get that social issues are a big thing, but sometimes you just got to shut the hell up and move to the side and just be normal, I guess. Like the fact that someone like Kanye West is coming to San Antonio is a big deal. And I say a big deal is because it's a big concert. That's a lot of employees. That's a lot of people being paid. That's a lot of tickets being sold. That is a lot of revenue being generated. And plenty of people are going to come from the Valley or from Houston or from Dallas to go to San Antonio and watch this concert, and you're trying to cancel that? Like, that's insane. Like, we had Chris Brown in the Alamo Dome, and you didn't say a word.
Dude, yeah, she wants to pick and choose certain battles and things that like make her look good in the public eye and things that she feels personally about. And it's not like she's not making these decisions because it's a smart mayoral decision. She's just thinking from her own personal gain or thinking emotionally about it. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but
Yeah,
maybe a mixture of both.
it's the old saying, you got to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, I agree, I'm not a big fan of Kanye, but if
No.
it's gonna be if it's gonna be a revenue bomb for your city, then you have to understand that it's gonna be a net positive overall. So, yeah, I think, yeah, if you're not a fan of it, but you know it's gonna be beneficial to your city, then maybe just, don't say anything about it,
Yeah.
maybe?
And also, like, guess what? We're still using the Alamo Dome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Facts and solid
Ima-
dunk.
yeah. So
And
we might need
honestly,
to
I
retire her at some point, but we'll see. She's gonna say some more stupid shit. Just you wait.
I was about to say, like, maybe like a small break, but definitely we can't retire talking shit about Mayor Ortiz if she's still continuing this tirade of stupidity. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna dunk on the little couch at the draft. Bro, what is going on with this, like, little fake living room situation that they're, like, a little IKEA-looking bullshit that they have over to the side where they're like, "Let's just go sit in the middle of this fake living room," and it's like, "Bro, what happened to just, like, oh, they got a camera over on the side where you see the draft stuff in the background, here you go, here's a mic," like, I
Yeah.
like that. It felt more like in the flow of things, not like, "Oh, let's go shoot this in a model home."
Yeah. The fog as they walk up the stairs, I was like, Stop." Like, that would have been cool in 2002, but not in 2026. Like, every time they grabbed the thing, it was like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that's literally
and then
all-star all-star, weekend, like, 20 years ago. Yeah, literally.
and the best part is like whenever Lisa Salters is interviewing the draft person, and then she starts asking the parents aren't trained in PR like these players are. And so whenever they're like, "Are you proud of your son right now?" They're just like, "Yeah, I'm really, really excited about him being in the NBA, and it's fantastic." And then they're like,
Like, speak
"Oh,
closer to the
sorry."
fucking mic. Get into the fucking mic. I know, it's so interesting to see how those kind of situations fail, and I'm like, yeah, because you need to have an on the shoulder camera just on people and then put a mic in their face when they're
Right.
talking. You can't let them choose to be like, all right, I'm gonna have the mic over here, I'm gonna have it over here.
Yeah.
It all leads to being bad.
It's a lot. I understand it's a lot going on, but you can clean it up a little bit. And also, yeah, that living room just looks nothing like the stage, and it's a weird aesthetic. And I'm sure someone sponsored it, and that's why they're in it. So shout out to whoever sponsors it. We're looking for sponsors too, by the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, right now the internet is saying that we made a good pick. Spurs get A for Quaintance pick. Wasserman calls injury riddled center a gamble worth taking. So I think that this
Well,
is a situation where maybe we're not going to get a guy that is going to give us a lot of stable confidence in his injury health, but can we get a guy that is gonna be a long-term upside guy? I think we did.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Big 12 all defense, freshman all Big 12. Stuff to like.
Definitely, I agree. The next go get
The what?
next year we just go get JT Toppin.
Yeah. Just really solidify the
Why not?
front court. Yeah. I don't hate him. I mean, you were talking Jalen Duren. That's his pro comp is Jalen Duren. That's one of his high pro comps. I didn't think of that off the top of my head, but that's one of the things they're bringing up here. Could be a good fit down the line. Overall, I do like Quaintance. Good stuff. Uh, but everyone, if you're still in here after the draft breakdown, if you're still in here after discussing the Jayden Quaintance pick for San Antonio at 20, we really, really appreciate you for being a part of the Baseline Bums community. Whether you're watching the lives on YouTube, you're watching the lives on Twitch, the clips on Instagram, the clips on TikTok, the audio on Apple Podcast. AJ's got the Twitter popping off. Everywhere social media is happening, you can find Baseline Bums material. And we really appreciate you for liking, sharing, commenting, doing all of the above, because your engagement, you being involved in the Spurs family, means the absolute world to us. We really, really appreciate it. You guys mean everything to us.
And because of this awesome family that we have going right now, somebody must have heard us on the podcast talk about the Silver Dancers, Rob.
Yes,
Somebody must have heard it. And
they're
this
bringing it back.
family
They're
and this
bringing it
this
back,
awesome community, we brought them back. And it's because of the Baseline Bums podcast, because we kept saying it and saying it and saying it, and finally worked. So thank you for this community. You guys are awesome. We brought back the Silver Dancers. That's why we end it every single way. Bring back the Silver Dancers. That's why we do it.
bro. I secretly think we had a lot to do with that. And I'm going to give us a lot of credit for bringing back the Silver Dancers personally, because we've said it so many times. Like we've
A
had more
lot.
than we've had it more than 250 episodes of this show, and we've said it probably more than 100 times easily. And so I think that we are a huge proponent of that. So I think
That means we're getting Jonathan Simmons back. Let's go.
absolutely. But yes, that is a great moment right there. And also a shout out to a giveaway we are doing in the future. We are getting very
Boom.
close to 1,000 subs. When we get to 1,000 subs, we are doing a random Spurs giveaway where we have some Wembanyama stuff, like a nice lunchbox, a couple of rookie cards of his. We're gonna have a Baseline Bums hat, some magnets, some fun extra items, some fun Spurs merch that we're going to throw in with it. And it's going to be a really fun, interesting giveaway. So when we get to 1,000 subs in the near future, all of our subscribers are going to be put into a random, and then we're going to give it away to somebody. So once we get there, we will be announcing that very soon.
And when we get to 2,000, we're going to give away our bathwater. What?
Negative on that. Bury the hype squad. That's essentially what this is going to do. Like we need more hype from the hype squad. So I think bringing back the Silver Dancers is going to be like, all right,
There's a place for the hype squad to be in the the concourse and
yeah,
kind of getting people up and going, before the games and stuff during timeouts or whatever. But Silver Dancers routines on the court, I cannot wait to see those.
yes, absolutely. Especially my wife, who's a former cheerleader captain. She's very, very excited for the Silver Dancers and what they're going to
Just
bring.
just don't be creepy when you take pictures with them. Just be normal. Don't be creepy. That's part of the reason they left to begin with, because too many people
Right.
got creepy.
Oh yeah, and they're putting hands on lower backs and caressing shoulders where they shouldn't be. It's guys, do the hover hand technique. Don't be touching where you shouldn't, and be respectful of the
Or
Silver
just the
Dancers.
point.
Yeah. Yeah, or yeah, yeah, just you can stand there with a smile on your face enjoying the moment. Absolutely.
All
But
right,
that
Rob.
being
That was
said,
a long
yeah,
outro.
it was. Well, we had a lot to discuss right there because I forgot
Yeah,
about
no,
the
for
Silver
sure.
Dancers, and we've been talking a lot of draft stuff and a lot of interesting elements there, but yeah, that was a very long outro. But that being said, we appreciate everyone for being in here, whether you're watching the clips, whether you're watching the lives. Much love to everyone that's a part of the Baseline Bums community. We certainly love you. And that being said, we're going to hop off, end this episode the same way we end all episodes. And that's with a
Go Spurs.
Spurs
Go.
go.
We brought back the silver dancers.
We brought back the silver dancers. Yeah, yeah.